It all started last year when I was digging around Facebook Marketplace in my free time when I found it. Yep, I'm gonna buy it. So I packed my bags and headed to the airport, flying one way from Phoenix to San Jose. I never thought flying with a helmet could be so annoying, but I had to pack light because everything I brought I needed to carry on the bike. Once I arrived in San Jose, I took an Uber ride to Livermore where the bike was, and just seeing some of the mountains and the scenery was incredible. I met the owner and realized that I was riding on tires from 2015 and a bike that probably hadn't ran in a year or so. We got it ready and all packed for the road ahead. I started my 1,000-mile journey headed west to Half Moon Bay over some of the tallest bridges I have ever been on, and when I reached the tiny coastal town, it felt like a different planet. From there, I headed down the PCH as far as I could, taking in the waves, the beaches, and the incredible road. Fun fact, did you know there are pumpkin patches next to the ocean? Crazy. I stopped at a motel for the night in Santa Barbara about halfway home. I had already completed 500 miles and I knew I had 500 more to go. Of course, I was concerned about the theft, so I wheeled it into the hotel room. It didn't really fit, but I made it work, sleeping with the new bike at my feet. At the start of day 2, I rose as early as I could, backed out of my room, and set out north of LA. Now I'll save you the boring 400 plus mile trip through the desert and, well, nothingness between LA and Phoenix, but as I got closer, I had a bit of an issue.
The craziest thing in the world. Holy crap, this bike's like, ah.
Randomly at 75 miles an hour on the highway, the bike shut off. The weather conditions were very windy and I had to ride leaning into the wind. I slowed down and got the bike running, went upright on the side of the road. This made me think. I remember the owner saying he replaced the fuel pump and had the injectors cleaned, and after that the fuel gauge didn't work. And with 2 tanks, left and right, I was so low on fuel that the wind angle starved the fuel pump. So I had to make it on the side of the road at about 30 miles an hour for a few miles to get to the closest gas station.
You got this. You got this. There's even Taco Bell. Motorcycle, there's Taco Bell. We gotta make it. Hurry! Okay. Yeah, 4.9, definitely ran out of gas. Or when I was riding and I had to tip, it was, yeah, not doing good.
I eventually made it home after the 1,000-mile journey with, well, only that one little hiccup that really wasn't that bad. And I was surprised because for a bike that had 28,000 miles on it, was from 2012, tires from 2015, and probably hadn't ran in at least a year, it made it flawlessly. It was awesome, and truly this was a bucket list trip for me. I loved every second of it. And once I got it home, I started to realize there's a lot of things that I want to change with it. So I started modifying it like every bike I own. And the first mod would be a tail tidy, and not to mention the badass license plate. Woo! This is actually one of the Rottweiler kits, and I'm telling you, it's bright. I also added a wings exhaust, and it's the titanium ones. And not only does it sound incredible, but they are super light, and I've already started to absolutely destroy these things. But hands down, one of my favorite companies is Wings. And well, you get a free t-shirt too. Also added a smaller rear rack, plenty of grip tape, reattached the dual light pods, converted from a low fender to a high fender. Now these are actually from an 85 SX, and this is from just one of the universal kits. And it's fairly simple, you gotta do some things, but I Plasti-dipped it, and I think the color looks great. I'm even routing the brake lines on the outside, and they're doing just fine. And I don't destroy that low fender anymore. No more side turn signals. Instead, they're up here on the bars. And doesn't this look a little familiar? It should, because they're the same bark busters and, well, sort of the same turn signals that I had on the 690 with, yes, I kept these mirrors, and if you keep asking me about these mirrors, I'm gonna lose it. But to get these to work, it was an absolute pain in the ass. Just a quick note here, and I can go into a deeper dive on the video or another video later on it. So if you want to modify the turn signals on this specific bike, take them off the side and put them on the bars or do an LED equivalent. The actual, whatever you want to call it, the mod or modulator or the whatever the thing is incorporated into your hazard lights. So you have to run a few different things to get this to work. And I had to buy a whole sick ass kit, and I had to go through literally forum after forum to get it to work. And of course, with tires from 2015, I had to upgrade these, and I went with the Bridgestone Battle Axe tires. And let me tell you, they are pretty darn knobby. They are, well, okay on the street. They do just fine, I don't mind them, but off-road, they are a game changer. In reality, for my next set, I will probably not go with these because, well, I've spent enough time off-road, and I've learned that I'm not that good of an off-road rider.
Oh God! Stop blowing holes in my ship! Complete and holy fuck. Damn! Oh shit. Ah, that one hurt my shoulder. Ah, I hate everything about today. I am done. I am done. Buy an adventure bike, they said. It would be fun. They said, well, fuck you. Whoever told me that. Want to do it again?
So then even after all of these mods, I do truly enjoy this motorcycle. It is awesome. I think it looks cool. It's my colorway, and well, it's an LC8. And that's something I might have to get pretty familiar with, especially for the next bike. But I'm excited to continue to ride this thing on and off the road. But what's it like to ride?
It's a blast! Look at the speed wobbles! And riding it on the highway, honestly, is one of the sweet spots of this bike. I mean, there's a huge windshield, you got plenty of wind protection, especially for your legs. You've even got crash bars to rest your feet on. And this thing can go pretty much forever. I mean, again, I rode it 1,000 miles home, so it did a darn good job and is super comfortable on this giant seat. I could probably ride this thing across the country. Now, if I'm in 6th gear trying to go 80 miles an hour, I'm just under 5,000 RPM, but it's still a really, really good cruising speed. I thoroughly enjoy this bike on the highway, and well, it's kind of like one of the best commuters. You definitely do feel the weight when you're on the brakes. I mean, they're, you know, Brembos, I don't know exactly what they are, but they do an okay job slowing this thing down. And you definitely do start to realize how wide this thing actually is when you're coming this close to cars. Yeah, it's a little unnerving. At least I know if my bars hit, then yeah, I'm kind of screwed. Don't mind me, and don't run me over, please. Oh, and just some quick stats for you. So this is a 999cc engine coming from an LC8 KTM. And well, there's plenty of power. It's an acclaimed about 115 horsepower, 73 Turks. So this thing, yeah, we'll say it gets up and moves. And from stoplight to stoplight, oh yeah, you can feel the torque. It is, it's pretty darn scary for such a big bike. Okay, settle down, settle down. Now it does come in at around 505 pounds. Now this is at my weighted scales at home, so take it with a grain of salt. But that's pretty darn heavy. I mean, there's a lot of bike here. I mean, taking this thing off-road, it is beautiful. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I almost think there's a little bit too much power, but you definitely feel the weight. Last time I rode off-road was on a 250 SX, and that thing felt like a freaking bicycle compared to this thing. I mean, first time riding an adventure bike off-road, and I didn't expect it to feel, well, that heavy, but I kind of did, but I was pretty shocked. Oh my God, any more lights, please? Give them what's up. Oh, that's one of the Himalayan from Enfield. That thing is crazy. But this is not the R version or the S version. This is just the regular version. And besides, you know, some engine changes and some small things like that, not very small, the biggest difference that I've seen is the suspension travel. So I've only got 210 mil of suspension travel, and let me tell you, on this fine road you wouldn't notice, but off-road, oh my goodness, you run out of room so quickly. Like you can bottom this thing out on just coming off of curbs. I mean, it is bad, so I definitely need to do something about that. But even though it is on the, we'll call it short side, it handles extremely well. I mean, this is such a tiny little set of corners coming through the mountains here, but I've taken it up even on some of the curviest roads around here in Arizona, and it has performed better than I ever thought. I mean, the Super Navi tires are a little scary trying to push it, but I could imagine if you put like a more street-oriented tire on this thing, it would be pretty darn fast. Actually, maybe I should take this to the track and see how it does. All you need is love and a dog. Have you ever tried a motorcycle? Now, my particular bike is not perfect. As you can tell, the dash likes to do weird things. It's been like that, well, since I got it. And I'm pretty sure the case either broke or became unsealed and water and stuff got in there because it acts a little funky. Sometimes it works really well, sometimes, like now, it does not work very well. Is what it is, right? And of course the fuel light, I kind of covered that a little bit earlier, but the fuel light doesn't work. After the owner did the, you know, pump and the injectors, he said it just stopped coming on when it was low. So now I gotta, you know, kind of track my miles a little bit here, which isn't a terrible thing, and I always carry like a giant loop 1 gallon fuel bag thingy whenever I ride off-road, but still is a little scary. But it's great because I've got the LED pods, a little controller here, my ABS switch is up here, so as soon as I go off-road I just flick it off, and then I've even got heated grips, and they're not very hot. They're kind of hot. Like if you first thing in the morning turn them on to high and hold your hands on the bars and don't remove them, they get pretty hot. But then the second you take your hand off and put it back on the bars, you're like, is it even on? I don't feel it anymore. But I mean, it's got still everything that I need for it to be a pretty cool off-road bike. I mean, I don't really think I need anything more. Oops, was I supposed to follow the road there? Let's see, is anybody running a PKRA today? Oh, nobody, or it might just be kart track kids. Yeah. See, that's PKRA where I used to bring the Supermoto, and well, now that I don't have a Supermoto and I live 15 minutes from the track, what am I gonna do? And yes, the 690 is a Supermoto, but dude, no. Whoa, I could go jump this. No, I'm not that good. I'm not doing that. No motorized vehicles allowed. Well, I'm just parking. So then I guess it just brings me to why I now have an adventure bike and I don't have another track-oriented bike. And well, the story with this is kind of funny. I've tried to purchase my father several different motorcycles, and every single time he says, no, save your money. And I get it, but what I wanted to do was buy this bike, bring it to the condition that it's in right now, minus all the scratches and the dirty things and the bent rim, but bring it up to a really good standard and give it to him, because he's been talking about having an adventure bike for the longest frickin' time, and I just kind of want him to shut up about it, and here you go, this would be awesome. But instead, he went out and bought a brand new 2025 Husqvarna Norden 901 Expedition, which is holy crap. And yeah, he doesn't need this. So now it's officially 100% mine. And I think what I'll do is I'll keep it and I'll just continue to throw it on the ground. Continue to break it, continue to work on it. I broke, again, this pod off, so you just find a KC Lights random bracket, and there you go, and I've scratched the living hell out of this darn thing, and I'm sorry, exhaust. But that's the point. It's an adventure bike. It's supposed to take you to places out here like this, and to go on an adventure, right? So I'm hoping to be able to do more adventures with this, and bring you guys along the way, and see what I can discover. I'm a terrible adventure rider, I'm a terrible off-road rider, and this will be, yeah, I guess the addition to it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you've got a KTM 990 Adventure or even the 950 Adventure and have any questions about what I've done to this bike, put it in the comments down below. And I tell you what, it's good to be back. And I can't wait for this third motorcycle to be in. I really can't. I'm excited. So stay tuned for that announcement. And remember, keep riding.